Good morning, students. Our today's lesson is about rounding decimal numbers to the nearest tens and the nearest whole numbers. Before we begin our video, let's talk a little about what is rounding off. Rounding off means a number is made simpler by keeping its value intact but closer to the next number. It is done for whole numbers and for decimals at various places of hundreds, tens, tenths, etc. So what are we learning today? Today we will learn to round two places of decimals to one decimal place and the nearest whole number. Here, students, it's very important to remember that we can round decimals to a certain accuracy or number of decimal places. It is used to make calculations easier to do and results easier to understand when exact values are not important. Let's begin with recalling the rounding off rules from our previous lesson. And the number that we are rounding off, if it is 4 or less, then we round down. If it is 5 or more, we round up. Let's begin our lesson with rounding to whole numbers. Let's do it first using the number line. Here, the number line represents the decimal numbers between 15 to 16. So, the numbers from 15 till 15.4, all of these numbers are closer to 15 than 16, so they would stay at 15. For example, 15.3 to the nearest whole will become 15. Here 15.5 is exactly between 15 and 16, so by convention we round up to 16. The numbers that are from 15.6 to 16, these numbers are closer to 16 than 15, so they would round up to 16. For example, 15.6 to the nearest whole will be 16. How can we do it without using a number line? To round without a number line, we need to identify the units digit first. My number is 6.42, so the units digit is 6. Then we work out the next unit up and decide if it stays or round up. Since my target is 6, I look to the right. I use the tens digit to decide. 5 or more rounds up, so 4 will stay down. So 6.42 to the nearest whole will become 6. Let's begin with some practice. Round a given number to the nearest whole number. Students, it is important to know the place value of the digits in a number before rounding. So we take the help of the place value grid for that. The digits that are after the decimal point represent the decimal place value, that is tens and hundreds. The digits that are before the decimal point represent the whole number and the place values ones, tens and hundreds. Since my target is to round the number to the nearest whole number, so first let's begin with making an arrowhead to show the target digit. Since my target is ones, so I make an arrowhead so that I remember that this is my target, and then I look to the right. Let's say the rhyme together. 5 or more, have one more, 4 or less, let it rest. Since the digit to the right is 5 or more, so I'm going to add one more to my ones place. So as I add one more to my ones place digit, that is 3, so it will become 4. So my number would become 154 when I round off to the nearest whole number. Let's practice the same number rounding to the nearest tens. When I round the same number to the nearest tens, my target is 10, so I'm going to make an arrowhead on my target digit, that is 8. I look to the right. The digit to the right is hundreds, that is 5. Since this is 5 or more, so once again it is going to add one more to my target digit, that is 8. So when I add one more to 8, it will become 9. So my number would become 153.9. Let's practice using another question. Round the given number to the nearest 10. Here I want you all to pause the video and try out the number yourself. Yes, you are right. 167.23 rounded off to the nearest tenth will become 167.2. How? First, let's begin with making an arrowhead to show our target digit, that is 2. As we look to the right, the digit is 3, so it will be round down, it will stay the same. So my number would be 167.2. Let's practice another question. Round the given number to the nearest whole number. Now here your target is the whole number. Pause the video here and try out the number yourself. Exactly. When we are rounding to the whole number, so our target is ones. As our target is ones digit, we look to the right, 10th digit, that is 2. Since this is 4 or less, so it will stay the same. My ones digit will stay the same. So my whole number will become 167. Alright. Let's do another question. Which one of the numbers show 167.2 rounded to the nearest whole number? 167 or 168? Alright, in order to solve this question, answer this question, I'm going to make an arrowhead to show the number that is given. My ones digit is the target digit, and then I underline the digit to the right. As I underline the digit to the right, that is 2, that means that 4 or less, so my number rounded off to 167. So 167 is the number that shows 167.2 rounded to the nearest whole number. Let's do the next question. Round the following measurements to the nearest tenth and whole number. 15.83. Here the two targets are given, that nearest tenth and the whole number. So first let's begin with rounding to the nearest tenth. Since my number is 15.83, so first I'm going to make an arrowhead on my target digit, that is 8. I look to the right and my number is 3, my digit is 3. So the number rounded off to the nearest tenth would become 15.8. I can use the same number that I have rounded off to round off to the nearest whole number as well. So since for the whole number my target digit is going to be 5 here, I look to the right and I underline the digit 8. So this is 5 or more. So my number rounded off to the nearest whole number would become 16. Alright, now taking the next example, 23.42, rounded to the nearest tenths. So for when I'm rounding to the nearest tenths, my target is 4. I look to the right, it is 4 or less. So it will not bring any change to my decimal number. So my number is going to be 23.4. Now I will be using my same number to round off to the nearest whole number. When I round up to the nearest whole number, my target is 3 and I underline the digit to the right. Since my digit to the right is 4 or less, so it will not make any change to my whole number. So my whole number will be 23. Let's solve the last question. Odd one out. Which one of the following will not be rounded up to 56? Underline to show your answer. So students, when you are solving these type of questions, you need to check every question for rounding off, if it is rounded up to 56 or it is rounding up to some other number. So let's begin with our first number, 56.01. My target is ones place. I look to the right. And I underline the 0. Since this is 4 or less, so it will stay the same, so this number will be rounded up to 56. Now moving towards the next number, 56.23. Again I make an arrowhead to show my target digit. I underline the digit to the right. Again this is 4 or less, So my number rounded up to the nearest whole number will be 56. Let's move to the third number given. Again, I make an arrowhead to show my target digit. I underline the digit to the right, that is 3. Again, this is 4 or less, so my number will stay the same and it will round off to 56. Let's move to the last number given. I make an arrowhead to show my target digit and then I underline the digit to the right. Since this is 5 or more, so it is going to add one more to my target digit. So as I'll add one more to my target digit, so this will become 57. So 56.80 is the number that if I'm going to round off, it will round off to 57, not 56. So this is how you can solve an odd one out question as well. So students, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please click the link given in the description to attempt the quiz related to rounding of decimal numbers to the nearest tenths and a whole number. And see you again